Good evening. This is Point Blank here at KTN News. You know, cut from the Mwai Kibaki era, they were fine men. Mutahi Kagwe was Minister for Information and Communication. Under him, we got M-Pesa and even the internet. Kabando was the lieutenant from Nyeri. One became a minister, opponents together under Kibaki. Now Nyeri is looking there. Is Nyeri strong? Is Kabando back? To discuss this, we must ask ourselves, is any of the things Kibaki taught them, are they needed now? Mheshimiwa, we are here.
Yes.
At a time where people don't have jobs. The young people of this country are crying. The economy, and you are alluding to the shilling, and of which I would like you to discuss the state of the economy, etc. But under Kibaki, there was a culture of enterprise, a culture of hard work. Is there a mob mentality to government? Pesa ya wazee, free maternity, free education, free everything. Is it sustainable in a nation that's not a communist nation for everything to be free?
You know, if you go to Nordic countries, I've been to some, Germany, Finland has the best education system by global assessments. If you go to Denmark or Norway, they are very welfareist. So basic needs are basic human rights. And that was our campaign in 1987 when we were in Safina with you, I remember. And it was education, food, security, water, and health. Basic human needs. So the stipend that is given to people, even Gaddafi, with all other issues about, in Libya, these things used to happen. When you finish university, you are sustained by state. If you graduate, in Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, he even encouraged graduates even to marry and then give them a house as an incentive to create a system that, like developing even a biological pedigree, as controversial as it would be. But taking a country from that world to first world in a generation. So the big question here is not about the state assistance on education. Do you remember that Mwai Kibaki promised free primary education and he was dismissed? But immediately he took over. He told his minister, Mwiraria, make it happen. Told his Minister for Education Saitoti, assisted by Bedemo, make it happen. And it happened. And free primary education was a milestone. The question here is about wastage, the still is corruption in this administration.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you are saying there's not too many offers of services, Mheshimiwa. Point blank, yes. You are saying ni wizi, ufisadi.
Ufisadi ndio imeharibu zaidi. Because how many times did you see Kibaki's ministers moving around in the choppers competing on how much to pour, either to women groups or youth groups? The Women Enterprise Fund was initiated by Mwai Kibaki. The Youth Enterprise Fund was initiated by Mwai Kibaki. Uhuru initiated Uwezo Fund and expanded the other two very, very well. But unfortunately, the systems may not be working now properly because there's so much implosion inside the system, and I talked about saboteurs and then corruption, grand scale. All right? So talking about 6 billion, 7 billion lost is like a child play. You can even go to a convention of the judiciary, where the Chief Justice, the President of the Supreme Court is sitting there, the Deputy Chief Justice is sitting there, the President, Commander-in-Chief is sitting there, and you talking about a village controversy. That, the money is not about 21 billion, it's 7 billion. I find that very disturbing and painful. Therefore, what we need to do, as we seek to create a governance structure that is inclusive, is to refocus the agenda. Now, Tony, we don't have a substantive cabinet secretary for finance. The one who is acting is a very good man. Mr. Yatani is very good. We don't have auditor general. We don't have an auditor. The National Audit Office is vacant at the top. The Office of Controller of Budget is vacant at the top. These are basic governance questions that if not addressed quickly then you create a stall of the system.
Mheshimiwa, this is critical for me.
Yes.
Because you're saying that corruption is the single most critical matter that is dealing with all the problems then ensuing, from lack of medical, so in other words, until we slaughter, I want this to be very clear.
The biggest government after the national government, executive government, and after the judiciary and the parliament, the arm of government, the three, in this country, is the Catholic Church. Because they are very huge. They're in every corner. Other churches are also big, but in terms of percolating the villages, from north to east to west, you find them somewhere. Barely 2 weeks ago, we saw the Catholic Church meeting in the Subukia Shrine and making a very heavy and necessary statement that they will no longer accept cash in church. They will encourage bankers' checks, and electronic transfers. It says something about that. They also said that gifts to priests in the Catholic Church that exceed 50,000 Kenya shillings shall be declared. And they even said every gift to the church shall be with a letter or an acknowledgement letter. It says, what they're saying, what I would call them Episcopal or whoever, is that the most singular, debilitating problem that Kenya is facing, Uhuru can forget about the big four and talk only about one issue.
And I want to
finish corruption.
I want to focus on 3 issues on what you have said.
Yes.
And this is point blank. Kuna gari ilikuwa imepatiwa priest. It was a big argument about the Catholic. Yeah. Uhuru himself is a devout Catholic.
Yeah.
For the Catholic Church to go public against their president, to say enough is enough. And I want to ask this of you. The Catholic Church is not just speaking without moral authority. They are the biggest provider of hospitals.
And schools.
The biggest of schools. Mwananchi wa kawaida kuko wa Nyeri Mukurweni. Nani hajaenda shule ya Catholic?
I'm a Presbyterian, but I can tell you in my village, the Catholic is very strong through what they call calitas, horticultural farming, and very strong in educational institutions. They are very active. I also respect my church, but I want to say that what is happening is that that statement is precipitated in my own judgment, and after talking to some priests who are senior in the leadership, my personal friends, they are worried. This country is going to the dogs.
Wait. Mheshimiwa, this is point blank.
Yes.
Uhuru Kenyatta's church. And every year until last time, they have been going for Jomo Kenyatta's memorial at the Holy Family Basilica. His bishops are telling him, the president.
Yes, and what has happened
Kabando,
2 weeks ago is that now George Kinoti, DCI, Nordin Hanji, DPP, Mr. Baruch of ECC, and other arms of government are being now joined necessarily so by the voice that was somehow stemmed of the church, initiated by the Catholic Church. This war is going to another level. And I think we should see that. This level, TJ. Wait, this war on corruption is going to another level. I'm telling you. It is not by coincidence that the church spoke the way it did. Barely about, 2 weeks before then, there was another acrimony where...
point blank. Are you preparing the nation for something?
Something is happening, and I said somebody must give.
Kabando.
Yes.
Wewe tumejuana miaka.
When you see
na
the
mimi
state,
nikikuuliza kitu, mimi nakuuliza kinaga ubaga. Wewe huwezi kuja point blank bila message.
I can allow you to sip asali kidogo, but you cannot take the whole cup. I can tell you, TG, when you see the state having a convergence with the church, the inevitable happens. All the religious groups.
Uhuru amechoka.
Kabando. Uhuru is a networked president, all right? I know we are frustrated when you see him dithering and being countermanded by his juniors in parliament and sometimes being insulted by his nominees everywhere.
Sudi and others.
But I'm telling you, the movement, and I talked about a hurricane, you want to call it a tornado?
Tsunami, hurricane.
A tsunami is something is giving. And this country will change. And this country is changing. And this country, inevitably, will be where we desire it to be. And that is where the corrupt are not celebrated. And where you don't intimidate people. I'm given a state appointment. For reasons I hold a state appointment as a chairman of a corporation. The expectations when you are given those jobs is that within a few months, you must steal. Within a few months, you must accumulate beyond your means. I'm telling you, you have seen a few of the people who are very loud, some governors in this country, some members of parliament in this country, disobeying the president.
Kabando, wacha nikuulize, otherwise itakuwa kama mimi nimeshindwa na kazi yangu ya point blank.
Sema TG.
Baba, wewe umeongea na baba.
Rafiki yangu.
Uhuru umeambia sisi hapa vile umemwambia.
Tunaongeanga.
Umesema tunachoka. Yes. Ama umechoka, mnachoka.
Watu wanachoka.
Umeniambia kuna kitu 2020, not 2022. Kuna kitu umesema muhimu hapa. Watu wanaangalia 2022. Hakuna game.
2022 ni bali sana.
Game mchezo unajua World Cup final ni June 2020.
Once the BBI report is out, gestation period for fruition of it will be under 8
after
months.
2020 hakuna siasa Kenya.
In 2020,
Kabando.
Can you mark this again? In 2020, people will take positions. The majority of the leadership in this country, from the counties to the national level, led by Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila and others, will be on one side. Merchants of impunity, hostages of corruption, and perpetrators of ethnic hate and division will be on the other. Your guess is as good as mine who will be the victor.
Nikuulize, I've noticed a movement in some parts of the Maraga court, particularly NGUGI. Very, very bold judge. And the judiciary seems to also define itself. Some judges are also saying, like you, we are tired.
TG, we are coming there, but let me just give you another quick example. Where the bishops, and I think it's the Bishop of the Diocese of Nyeri, was reading the statement in Subukia, mentioned about not allowing politicians to misuse the pulpit. The cheers were deafening. The congregation was quiet as the rest of the statement was being read, meaning the public is also quietly bitter down there by misuse of that. Now, what is happening in the judiciary? The MUMBI Goge ruling, when you are mentioned. You know, barely a year ago, a minister resigned in England, House of Commons, for being late for 2 minutes. Resigned. A Japanese minister 2 years ago resigned for the train, transport minister, the train being late for only 2 minutes. Here, you're accused of supervising pilferage, wastage and theft.
Guess of
Harambe. Na unashikwa leo, tomorrow we know you're going to appear in a church. All right? That ruling is necessary. Because we are bestowed these responsibilities to serve. So, this is not your private property. You are accused, there are doubts about your integrity, there are doubts about the temerity of you to lead in a good corporate governance in a county or a state corporation or ministry. Step aside. In any case, we are 50 plus million. You are one. There's the issue of stamping your chest that I belong here, sitatoka. Unasema hutatoka, lakini not when we have a resurgent judiciary and when we have a restless agency on corruption that needs to prove to Kenyans, particularly EACC, that things are right. Whatever EACC is doing lately is focusing on the counties I've seen. The question of the judiciary has been raised like it is the unfitting bolt in this whole machine.
The missing
Link.
piece
The
or the
missing link.
puzzle. Yes.
All right? Now, we have seen judiciary making...
Judicial activism is needed.
Is needed. You see, what is needed around is actually activism. The activism of the mothers that safeguarded the Uhuru Park and Karula. We need to appreciate the need to activate a strong machinery from the judiciary, from the other arms of government, so that whatever the president says, the president...
You know, I supported the other day the KPA,
yes.
the privatization of the port was stopped,
Yes, was
by
stopped.
3 judges.
Absolutely.
I actually thought...
Even the coal project in Lamu, these things happen because people must be... And Tony, what has happened is that we have been made to sometimes appreciate and accept our conditions. That if somebody wants to accuse you, because I've seen it even in boardrooms sometimes, people say, oh, this was an activist. Activist from Al Gore, the Nobel Peace winner, former vice president in America, to Wangari Maathai, to Ole Soyinka. Activism is a very
why I'm asking you this,
important
Boris
aspect.
Johnson was told by the
Yes.
Supreme Court of England
Yes,
that you cannot prorogue parliament.
Absolutely.
And we have said it's unconstitutional, open
Yes,
parliament tomorrow.
absolutely.
Are you saying MUMBI NGUGI and the court in Mombasa that stopped privatization of KPA, I'm asking you that the court has a role. Are you calling for judicial activism, Kabando?
It is necessary. You see, I have sat in meetings in caucuses when I was in the parliament, and I've seen people very senior in this country dismissing William Mutunga as an activist. Yet he left office without an iota of corruption, without an accusation of incompetence. We need activism in all spectrum of our society, because globally, from Mahatma Gandhi to Umkuto Sizwe in South Africa, Nelson Mandela and Steve Biko, even to our Kiburi House here, that produce the Kimathis and General Madengas, we need
But
to
Kabando,
move.
I
Yes.
must ask you a problem, a question point blank.
Ask.
The deputy president, William Ruto, is one of the richest men in Kenya.
Yes.
Like this man, Mobutu Sese Seko.
Yes.
Emperor Bokassa.
Yes.
The man is amassing money and looking Uhuru in the eye, looking you in the eye. You can't stop me.
Well,
and I'm saying it's been done in Africa,
Yes.
where people adore the looted wealth of their people.
Recently I went to a place and I saw Mwai Kibaki in the streets in a neighborhood here near Karula, just walking across, almost alone. All right? If you go to Tanzania, I recently saw Jakaya Kikwete visiting his former teacher in the village, and he was almost all alone. If you go to nations in Europe, you'll find former prime ministers, even Tony Blair, even Cameron.
On the train.
In the street and on the train. What does it benefit a man to accumulate the whole world and lose the kingdom of heaven? Or how does it benefit you to be a captive of material occultism, where you worship materialism, that for me to deal with you, it must be transactional, that there must be some money exchange, that for me to give you a job, I must tell you every month you must deliver this to me. What do you benefit?
Mheshimiwa point blank.
Right.
Boni Halwale.
Yes.
Aisha Juma.
Yes.
Your brother here, Kimani Waishungwa.
Yes.
This Ding Ginyoro.
Yes.
They are kneeling. They are showing, they are saying that this man is the Alpha, he's the Omega.
I can tell you this. All those individuals, quite a huge number of them will not be where they start today.
What?
They will not be where they stand today.
Kabando.
If I were to advise Deputy President William Ruto, the people around you singing songs and telling you, you are the Alpha and Omega of the political melodrama and the panorama of this country. Listen carefully to those that you may not trust, and know the history of this country. They will not stick with you. They will be with you now because they are excavating the gold that you may have. You are, as a deputy president, a low-hanging fruit. You'll be picked by every passers-by in the streets.
Tom and Jerry.
So that's the point. The only way to build trust, enduring trust, is to focus on the national agenda of reconciliation, cohesion, and prosperity as embedded in the Vision 2030 manuscript. Anything short of that, no matter how much you give on Monday up to Sunday, people come to you. Hyenas go where there is meat, and vultures cloud where there was a slaughter.
Mheshimiwa, Kabando wa Kabando, mkubwa wa Nyeri, Mukurweini, what next for you, Mheshimiwa?
For now is to serve where in a state appointment and also do my private things. I do my consultancy on governance and public policy. That's my training. And also input as a politician. I've refused to die as a politician. Continue being active at the national level, connecting with the powers that be, connecting with the grassroots, but not disrupting those who are leading now. They can do their own thing. But I'm telling you, TG, point blank, the coming season will require veterans and people with conscience and consciousness. And in 2020, as we unfold the next phase of the agenda of national reconciliation, crushing impunity finally, and ensuring inclusivity and security and shared prosperity in this country. That's why you see Baba Washera, Baba Mbui. That's why you see Kabando from the molehills of the ridges of Mau Nyeri.
I saw Mbui here.
Yes.
And she has heard you.
Very beautiful girl.
The great Martin Luther King said, only when it's dark enough can you see the stars. Kabando wa Kabando, the son of Mukurweini, amesema 2020 is going to define the future of this nation. And the father of Wambui will be seen, will be heard, and will be back on the trail. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Tony. Let's
do
this for prosperity,
yes,
for our children,
yes,
for posterity. I look forward to a day when your son,
yes,
my daughter Washera,
yes,
and other children, junior to them, say that we lived and did what we had to because there was a patriotic obligation.
You're here because yaikio ikagerege.
Na kwira oguo.
Nikiaku.
Na gutire ngenda thi itari mutegi.
You're watching.
Kihoto kiunaga utamugete. Na muingatwo na njuguma. Ni acokaga. No muingatwo na kihoto ndekaga atia. Waringa mundu na njuguma.
Na gitege tikia Uhuru ni arurire.
Kia rurire.
Anyway, you decipher. Ask a neighbor to tell a neighbor. It's KTN News.
Asante.
Point Blank by TG was filmed on location at the Nairobi Serena Hotel.